Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Wandering Watercolor. My name is Constantine, and today we will be painting the 9th page of the watercolor coloring book that I make myself. I make everything by hand through the use of lithographs, and if you're here because you purchased one of these books, thank you, I appreciate you. And if you are interested in buying one, it'll be in the description. Otherwise, if you just want to paint along, pause the image and then draw it out and then continue playing once you're done drawing it so you can paint along with us. And with that, let's jump over to the drawing table. So basically, this is the page that we are working on today. The finished image will look like this. It's a quaint little village in Switzerland, and I don't remember the name of it, but it should be pretty simple. A lot of similar colors, and yeah, let's just get to it. I'm using the little brush that I sell in my little watercolor coloring kits. I'll probably stop selling this brush just because it's getting harder and harder to find suppliers that carry it. And I don't know how to make the brush myself. I'm not that good with 3D printing. So I'll probably either find another brush or just reduce the price and just sell the palette by itself without a brush. Although any old brush will pretty much work. I've used just cheap brushes from Walmart or Target or whatever you get. I'm pretty sure it will work as long as the water will hold on to it. So yeah, and this is the palette. If you bought it from me, this is the exact same palette, although you can use any palette. That's fine. Basically just mix the colors as you go, and whatever colors you're using, they'll work. I always recommend getting a plate or a soap dish, or this is a soap dish that I just bought at the store. They're very cheap, or you can use any old plate. It's perfectly fine. Watercolors clean out very easily from porcelain or glass. And also have like a jar or a cup of water on the side. Don't use the reservoir in here because you'll have to stop and switch it out, and it becomes very cumbersome. Also, just a rag and a scrap sheet of paper. It can be any paper, really, just so when you're wiping off the brush or trying to sculpt the brush to get a particular detail, that's what we have that for. And with that, we can go ahead and start mixing our colors. We will start with all of the green up here. Some of it kind of runs in between the houses. So grab that and grab a little bit of brown. And that's actually pretty close to the color that we're looking for. We're gonna put a bunch of water in there just because we're going to do a flat wash. That's the first thing that we always do, is just a flat wash before we start laying in any detail. That way we can differentiate which color goes where. I'm gonna get a little bit of yellow. Okay, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Just add a little more water so it's more transparent. And with that, it looks like what we need. We'll go ahead and we'll start all the way over here. Just a small line, and then just kind of expand out. And don't be too concerned about getting everything perfect. It's okay if you go inside some of the lines. It'll still look just fine. And just grab that color and lay it in, maybe a little more water, just so you could spread it out a little more. And just start laying it all in. Nice and even flat wash. If there's some texture in there, it's not a big deal. Just try to get it as best you can, laying it all in, falling right there, going back to the edge. I try not to let the edge sit for too long because this dries a little quicker on this paper. This paper is not 100% cotton, it's 50% cotton, so things tend to dry a little quicker. To me that's a plus, just because I tend to work very quickly, but some people don't like how quickly it dries. I prefer it, but it's kind of like a preference thing. Just keep laying it in, like that, all in here, all the details, leaving out the little houses that are on the side of the mountain. And then we go in here, down here, and then go back up here, a little more water, and then go ahead and throw that in. We're almost done with this part. Also, you don't want to forget over here. Kind of this part of the trees and shrubs that are kind of interweaving between the buildings from a distance. You can kind of see right here. And that's pretty much it there. We also have a little bit over here in front of the buildings. Right there, and that's it for that. So we got a lot done there pretty quickly. Next, we can go ahead and color in these back here. And we'll just use this same color, the same green, grab a little bit of blue, So these mountains are very far back, and usually when objects are further back, like a large distance, they look a little bluer because of the atmosphere. So this color right here is exactly what we need for that. We'll just go ahead and we'll lay that in. Get a little water, maybe make it a little more transparent. Just like that. Perfect. And rinse our brush. I'm going to use my rag to go ahead and pick up a bunch of this color, actually, because I just realized that there's still a little bit of trees and shrubs in between right here that we did not get. That's okay, easy fix. We'll just grab a little more green, a little more brown, and a little more yellow. Maybe a little more green. And get some water, and then just kind of go in there. I'm actually going to get a little more brown, mix it in. That looks better, kind of like that. It's hard to always mix the exact same colors, but even if you get it close enough, that's fine. And even if you don't, it could give it a little more character, make it a little more variable. Okay, so we're good with that. The next part, we are just gonna do a very light blue wash for the water here in front of everything towards the foreground. The way we'll do that is we'll grab our light blue. And then we'll also grab some of the green. Not a lot, just a little bit. Just a little more. We kind of want like a very, very light teal looking. It's still too blue. Very light teal. That's a little better. Almost there. Okay, that's looking much better. So we're just about there. I'm gonna rinse off my brush, pick up a bunch of water, and then kind of mix it in and make it nice and transparent. Add more water. Okay, so this is a nice transparent teal, but more on the blue side, which is what we want since we're painting water. And go ahead and we'll start like this. We will leave some ripples just for the highlights that would appear in the water. So like this, we'll go a little bit zigzaggy going down. And then on this side, like that. Just like that, perfect. And then continue going in, kind of weaving in and out, leaving some white streaks in the water, just like that. And you're kind of making it sporadic. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just like when you see white streaks in the water, they're very, very random, you know, kind of chaotic. That's basically what we're doing here. Try not to make it too structured. It's okay if it looks a little weird. Just kind of throwing it in there. Don't think about it too much. Just kind of, if you just do it without thinking about it too much, it'll have the right amount of chaos in there. Okay, so far so good. I'm liking how this is looking so far. While that's drying, we can go ahead and focus on putting some color to the buildings. I'm gonna switch my little palette here. If you have a bigger plate, obviously just go to a spot on your plate that has just more free area. And then what we'll do is we'll get a little bit of the red, a little bit of this red, a little bit of the yellow, mix them together. We're going kind of for a salmon-like color, salmon orange pink, kind of somewhere in between, which that right there looks to be pretty close to a little more red. And we're actually gonna add a little white here. That's pretty much it. Perfect. And since we're doing just the base wash, we're just gonna grab a little bit of water, kind of dilute it, grab some more water, because we want it to be more transparent. The first thing, we're gonna go right here, color in this building. And then go in right here, the building next to it. Just color all that in. And don't worry if you're going in over details, because we will go in later on and add some details. Because it looks like we're just painting over everything right now, but when we add the details, it'll look much better. Okay, and then we're gonna grab this one. Right there, perfect. This one up here, I'm gonna color that in. color in right here. Okay. Right there. And right here. Right here. Okay. This little part is going to stay white. And this building up here. Just going to cover all of that. And we're leaving the roofs alone. So we're just doing the building, the wall portions of the buildings. And go all the way down here. Okay. And then cover this. And let me just take a look. I think so far that's everything. Yeah. So that's all good. And then next, we will go ahead and mix just some yellow. And then just the slightest touch of brown. That's probably it. We'll go ahead and we'll mix that up. And then we'll grab some of the white. And that's, yeah, that right there is the color that we're looking for the next set of buildings that we're painting. And we'll go ahead and we'll go in like this. There's like a platform here that's also yellow. This house back here, again, avoiding the rooftops, just the walls. And then right here, there's a house in the background or behind this building. And then this one right here. Gotta get that one. And next we just do right here in front, and also just some yellow running back like this. Okay, that's looking good. We'll rinse off our brush. And then the next thing that we'll do is we'll focus on the parts that are brown. There's a little bit here and then throughout where the different buildings are. So we'll grab some of our brown. We'll go ahead and we'll go like that. But we also want to dull it down a little bit. So we'll grab this, the dark blue, just a little bit of the dark blue. And that's pretty much exactly what we're looking for. First we'll do a light wash right here where those trees are. And then later on we'll add the shadow. And then we'll grab that same brown and we're going to do, there's a little line right there. And there's a line up here. A line up here. A line down here. A line up here. These are all horizontal lines. A line up here. And they seem to be kind of like where the support beams of different buildings are. Right here, right here. Right here. And then over here. And one vertical. And there's also a roof back here that's more of a brown color. Okay, so all of that, and then here where the tables are, there's a little dock, and there's some tables here. this is all brown. And so are the little umbrella stands. And then some more brown here and here. And up here. Basically on the side of the buildings. Okay. And then we can rinse our brush, so we're good with that part. And next, we're going to go ahead and color in the roofs. For that, we will need a gray. So we're just going to go in where the black is. And then we're just going to rinse off our brush and just add a bunch of water to that. We can even get a little of the brown because that'll make it, bring it more, neutralize it more. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is a pretty good, that's a good gray color. We'll go ahead and we'll put it in right there. And basically we're going to start hitting all the roofs, all the rooftops with the gray. Right there. And right there. And get some more of the gray, and then going right there, right there, right there. Basically, wherever you see little rooftops, just go ahead and give them a little bit of a gray color. Same right here. And right here. And go slowly, you don't have to go too fast. I'm just used to it, so I'm kind of going a little faster, but you can definitely go ahead and pause or slow down the video, play it back. Right there. Basically, just wherever you see a roof, give it a nice little gray color so we can differentiate them. And it's always interesting to kind of stop and look at the image, excuse me, as it's coming together, because you can, it's fun to see how all the little pieces, as you're coloring them in, it helps everything come together. Right there. And this roof, a little bit right there. And then this roof right there. And this roof. And that one. Just kind of go slowly. If you're having difficulty with any of the details, one thing that you can do is when you're with your scrap piece of paper, just kind of make some strokes. And that can help flatten out the tip of the brush. And that way when it's flat, you can actually go ahead and make thinner strokes if you need to. Hopefully that makes sense. We are gonna leave this little roof white and this one as well. So these two little roofs, we'll leave those white. Everything else, we kind of got that in, so it looks good. Rinse off our brush. And now while the roofs are drying off, we are going to work on adding some more values on the water. And after that, we'll go, once they're dry, we'll go back up into the green of the trees. We just don't want to go into it as the roofs are drying, because then it'll start blending in. So we're going to grab this one. I'll go back to these colors. We'll go ahead and get some green, put it down here. Get some brown. See how that helps darken up And we'll get some dark blue as well. Let's see, that looks pretty good. We'll get some more of the green. Since it's kind of a teal, but we want to make it a very dark blue teal, like a more blue tinted teal. And I'm just gonna grab my test piece of paper here, see how that looks. Looks pretty good. I want it to be a little darker though, so I'm gonna grab some more of the dark blue, some more of the teal, or the green I should say, some more of the dark blue. That's looking pretty good. It's okay if some of the green gets mixed in, since teal is kind of a mix between blue and green. Okay, let's see. Do a little. Yeah, it looks good. Looks pretty good. So, back here, all the way back, we're gonna make that dark since that's so far back. It gets very dark there. And then just move on up, kind of adding it all the way in front where the buildings are and where the mountain is. And then kind of working in, just putting in the occasional sliver, going down again in a little bit of a zigzag pattern, but we don't want to put as much as we did the first time around, because we're just trying to add some shadow, just to emphasize that there's variation in the depth of the surface of the water, because that's how we know that it's moving and rippling. There's variation in there. Okay, and grab some more. And then going in like that. Again, remember the zigzag pattern. It's okay if you make some of them a little darker up front. Give some variability. And then continue adding back here. And just like that. Okay, adding a little more, adding a second layer right in the back and then in front, and then just kind of blending it out going forward. There we go. And it will all dry much lighter. If you've been watching any of the other tutorials in this playlist that I'm making for this coloring book, that's one thing that I mention over and over, is that everything with watercolor dries much lighter. Okay, give it a moment and let's look at it. Okay, looks pretty good so far. We still have a long way to go, but we're probably a little over halfway done right now. Now we can go back to mixing our green. We'll get a bunch of green and get some brown. Make it a nice dark green. It actually looks pretty good right there. And now, since the light is coming down this way, we're just gonna work in, start laying down shadows. Actually, we want a little more brown. A little more, just a little more. There we go. Start laying in those shadows. And just kind of like short, sporadic strokes, kind of like U's almost, to get some of that texture of the trees that are weaving in between the buildings and also in the background. Just some U's, kind of just here and there, climbing up, and just make them more dense, like add a lot more towards the bottom, and then as you go up, maybe spread them out a little bit, because that's what'll help show the viewer where the shadow really lays, and it helps establish the form better. And then as we go up towards the edge, just kind of like sporadically. And keep going. And just dabbing it a little bit. And then maybe a little bit here. Just some dabs, almost like you're scribbling. But then like down here, for example, we would add a lot more, kind of like a blob almost. Like that, and then some dots. And over here in between the buildings, there's not as much light, so we're just gonna add a lot more of the dark green. Just like that. And then over here, add a bunch of the dark green. There's like a layering going on. So maybe a path that we can't see between the trees. And then just like that. Some bigger blobs here and there to kind of add variation so it doesn't all become too similar. Variation is very pleasant to look at, so we don't worry about everything becoming the same. But if you make too much variation, then it just becomes chaos, which in the right circumstance, that can also look appealing. So we just add it like that. Some more going here. Maybe some dots. And take your time. Don't try to rush. Find your own pace, your own rhythm, and that'll help kind of lay in the patterns. Okay. Go in here, a little thicker in here. A lot more in here. Kind of like where the trees are. A lot more shadow where the tree trunks are. There we go. And then kind of going around. Okay. And grab that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good all around here. We'll grab some more, and then there's a big shadow right here. Going in like this. And then down here, going in like this. Just kind of spread it over the roof here, and then a little bit of some dots for the texture. And just lay in that part. There we go. Okay, let's pause for a moment. Let's take a look at it. Okay, yeah, I'd say that looks pretty good so far. Some of the buildings may be getting a little lost. That's just because we need to give them a little more detail for emphasis. And the way that we're going to do that is we'll go ahead and I rinsed off my brush completely, and then I'm gonna dry it off and just grab a little bit of the black here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of strokes and kind of try to sculpt the edge of the brush like we talked previously. I'm going to get some more. And I want to be able to get really thin lines like that. So just kind of flatten out the edge. The more pigment that you have on the edge of the brush, the easier it will be to do this. And just kind of like sculpt the edge of the brush how you want it, because we will be going in for little finer details here. So there's a little window here. We're gonna put a little black dot there and another window right there, a little horizontal outline, another horizontal outline right there, do a vertical outline like that, a little window right here, fill that in. And we're going to work our way across like that. There's a little roof here. We're going to outline that. And I'm only going this way because I'm left-handed, but if you're right-handed, you can go start here and then work that way. Either way is perfectly fine. And then there's another roof here. I'm going to give it a little outline. It's a bit much, but that's okay. There's a little window here, another window right there. A little window here, a little window there, and a little window right here, and light right there, and just a little vertical outline like that. And then these little windows, just a little dab in there just to show that they are there. There's a roof here that we're also going to outline, just slowly. Like that, another window, all these little windows down here, and give them a little like that, like this, like that. Okay, and then there, 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 there. And then just kind of outline that roof, and horizontal outline for that roof. And then down here there's a horizontal and then kind of an angle, and then right there, and then here and here, and then down here and down here, and then do a horizontal outline, and then right here kind of the roof a little more, and then here for the roof again underneath, and then underneath, and then where the little windows are, you can get all those in here. I went a little overboard with that stroke, but that's okay. Right here, all these little windows, and then a little outline underneath here, these back here, a little outline and a dot, and then up here, there's a little window, and then that little roof right there, just like that, right there. And you can kind of get a sense how much depth that brings to the image. The whole thing looks a lot more uniform now. Oh, I forgot this one right here. It's a little one. And just keep working your way through. Like that. Here. A little roof. Window, window. Another 3 windows down here. And then up here for the roof and windows. And that's really all we're focusing on, roofs and windows. They give a lot of form to the whole piece. Right here, these two, and these little windows. And up here, okay. And over here, and get all those windows. Like that. And these windows right here. And then just a little outline for this little shack down here by the water and the little windows. And then also for the little umbrellas. Gonna give them just a little outline. Just like that. And for the little pier, just some outline. Okay, let's step back, take a look. And rinse off my brush. We're almost done here. I'm just gonna get a little brown, a little green, actually a little dark blue. There we go. And that's for these trees all the way up here. Just a vertical stroke right there, and another one right next to it. 2 right there, and right there. And that's just for all those trees up here. Rinse that off. And then find a new spot on your plate. And this last part is going to be very, very quick and easy. Very quick and easy. It's just the sky. We're just going to grab the sky, or the blue right here. Just gonna add a bunch of water. And mix in a bunch of water, because we want to dilute it, otherwise it's too bright. The blue itself is too bright. Just gonna add a bunch of water right here, and we're just gonna go right like that. Honestly, you can make the clouds however you want. I always just kind of randomize them, like kind of like that. And rinse off your brush and step back, take a look at it. And yeah, good job. We're done with that one. I'm liking it. Looks pretty good. Okay, so that's what the finished image looks like. Hopefully yours turned out the same, and keep in mind you don't have to follow the exact same image that I'm using. You can completely change the colors, make it look abstract. You can do so much more, but this is kind of a base that people can go off of, and it's a nice looking image, you know. And then the idea is with these books is that when you're done, it looks like a finished painting and you can't see the marks underneath. So far I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about that, because it actually helps people get a whole painting done and it looks like an actual painting. But that's pretty much it. Again, everything's in the description. Tag me to show me what you make when you're done with it. I'm very interested to see on Instagram, or just leave a comment in here on the video. Wandering Watercolor, or at Wandering Watercolor. It's always my username. And with that, I will see you next time.